laughed at Michelle's confusion.
No, the medallion your foster parents gave you brought you here. You see, it was forged by the Battles of Hell Dogs a time ago, so it's a mystical properties and stuff. Whenever you wear it and touch it with your right hand, you'll come to heaven. If you touch it with your left hand, you'll go to hell.
The angel offered Michelle a white, woven chair, which the human accepted gratefully.
Whoa! Major Mary Sue alert!
You know your OC is a major Mary Sue. Not only you're a mortal that doesn't get tortured in hell, but can also visit heaven at any time.
Not only that, but this woman is also Michelle's mother. An angel.
You know your OC is a major Mary Sue if you have foster parents while you're living on Earth and you're a half-breed angel and devil.
How does that even make any sense?
I don't know. I didn't write this. Not only is she an angel, but she's also Nikki's half-sister. Yeah, that's right. This is Nikki's mother. Remember the angel at the end of the film? Yeah, that's her. Except her father isn't Satan, it's Jimmy.
You know your OC is a major Mary Sue if your character is the daughter of two canon characters, and on top of that, people who were not paired up in canon.
How do I know this? Because it's clearly the same story how the angel met Satan at the end of the film. Plus, it's also mentioned in later chapters.
Don't forget she's Adrian's love interest.
I know that. But that's okay, since she's Nikki's half-sister, she isn't related to Adrian. Anyway, the reason why Michelle can go to both heaven and hell is because she's been given a medallion called the Hand of Lucifer by her mother that can make her go to both worlds. And that is the most stupid thing I have ever heard. Anyway, the flashback ends and Michelle tells her mother, Holly, that she has released Adrian from the flask and hasn't told him yet about the event. Then we meet Michelle's best friend, Melody, and Melody's gonna be married off to...
Don't tell me.
She's about to get married to that Adrian.
It's okay, Chibi Fangirl. You still got me. I'll take care of you.
I don't even know who you are.
Hey, it's okay, Chibi Fangirl. You still have Nostalgia Crank and Linkara.
You're right, but I'm still gonna kill the author who wrote this. Chapter 2 begins with Michelle leaving heaven and returning to hell once again and putting on the invisibility robe.
Michelle backed up and quickly stepped to the right in order to avoid contact with Adrian as he strode silently out of his dark room. She was about to follow when he stiffened suddenly and sniffed the air.
Oh no.
As soundlessly as she could manage, Michelle slid farther away from him. However, Adrian turned in her direction.
I smell a mortal.
He spoke softly in a sing-songy voice, which permitted fear to creep suddenly into Michelle's heart.
A very beautiful mortal, too.
Adrian can smell beauty, apparently. So, I wonder what he thinks about my hot body.
Your body is looking fine.
Oh, yeah.
Are your schizophrenic illusions talking to you again?
What are you talking about? He's totally real.
Oh, really? And I'm wondering what Adrian is thinking of me.
I'm not gay, you idiot!
Wow, you weren't kidding.
So, Adrian and Michelle play a game of sexy hide-and-seek. Michelle enters Satan's study, and Adrian follows her and finds a sappy note. Dear Satan, while I agree that your decision is best for everyone, and will certainly have a positive effect on our heavenly and hellish persons, I might politely request that the situation will be kept under control and the circumstances and consequences will be clear to your son. I mean no offense, and send this as a caring mother and concern for her eldest daughter. I'm glad that my daughter will play such a role in history, and flattered that you personally selected her as best suited to take the job. Whether you decide to reside in heaven or hell or somewhere in between, I hope that I will be able to visit them often, and that my daughter will be able to present me with lots of grandchildren. I'm quite beside myself with excitement for the wedding, and though Melody seems a bit reluctant, I know it's just nerves. The poor girl suffers from terrible nerves quite often, and I'm sure she'll be over her doubts at the time of the reception. I do wonder where they plan the honeymoon. If you have any idea what your son might think, please send a reply, for I plan on sending a few presents on their way, and would like to book a date beforehand. Please write back as soon as possible, and I am quite anxious to discuss the gifts and dates. Melly's sisters are full of excitement, and are dying to know more about her young groom. He must come to visit sometime, I do insist. That is, if he accepts your generous offer. With love, Crystal. Wait a second. Nikki got married to Valerie by choice. There was no arranged marriage mentioned. Even though heaven and hell both have their rulers, there's no arranged marriages for any of their offspring. Unless maybe marriage is viewed as some kind of punishment. This story just gets weirder and weirder. Adrian doesn't seem happy about this either. Satan comes down and says he's planning to tell Adrian, but he was just too lazy to tell him in the first chapter. Adrian states that he hates angels because they're all hippies. Hey, if it were up to me, I would have done this. Hell no! But since there are mortals and there's violence against women, we can't really do that now, can we?
I would rather like to read the fan fiction where Adrian's a backup singer for NSYNC while working at a chicken farm.
Once upon a time, there was a band named NSYNC. They had a lot of pretty boys such as Justin Timberlake and, whoever the other guys were, but they needed some pretty backup singers. So they hired a chicken farmer who was also the son of the devil, Adrian.
Oh god, I didn't really mean it literally.
So, after Adrian and Satan argue about the whole arranged marriage thing, Satan then tells Michelle that she can release the cloak and show herself.
Come on out, kid. I won't let him hurt you.
Michelle hesitated in fear as Adrian shifted in his seat.
Now, woman.
Adrian watched in astonishment as Michelle removed the invisibility robe.
Michelle, is that really you?
Michelle swallowed hard, knowing full well how much danger Satan had placed her with his decision. She managed a weak smile as Satan said,
I'm glad you remember her so well, Adrian, because she's been assigned to be your watchdog.
My what?
Adrian rose to his feet, his intense gaze never leaving Michelle's uneasy one.
Your watchdog. Michelle will be watching your every move, making sure you behave yourself and do as you are told. She will be hidden from you and will not permit you to see herself unless instructed otherwise by me or her father.
Satan glanced over at Michelle and noticed how uncomfortable she had become.
Was this the same brave girl who helped Nikki defeat Adrian last time? What was it about Adrian that made her quiver with fear?
So, what's wrong with Michelle? Why is she afraid to talk to him? Well, she really isn't. It's mentioned later that Michelle actually helped Adrian create a new hell, but decided to work against him. And also, she's the angel that threw the globe of light to Nikki. Because she created a new hell, she must never allow herself to talk to Adrian, or else something really bad will happen. That being said, she cannot be Adrian's watchdog then, because that is completely stupid. Satan then lies to Adrian, telling him after Adrian's defeat, Michelle is emotionally traumatized, which forbids her to talk. Also, I forgot to mention, Michelle was Adrian's girlfriend, so there are a lot of steamy flashbacks about Michelle and Adrian. Honestly, I prefer reading the flashbacks, more than the story itself. It's not perfectly written, but a majority of it is in character.
Satan and Jimmy walked with her to the throne room, where Satan's 3 sons stood waiting for their father.
Boys, I would like you to meet Jimmy's daughter, Michelle. She came here to visit, and I decided it was best to introduce her to everyone.
He presented Michelle to his youngest first.
Michelle, this is Nikki.
He quietly whispered in her ear.
He doesn't know yet, but Holly is his mother too. He's your half-brother.
Nikki, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Michelle smiled brightly at discovering a new member of her family.
I hope we'll be good friends.
Me too. I mean, if you don't mind jamming with the good music.
Nikki's slightly crooked jaw and poor speech impediment made Michelle wonder how Nikki could stand living here.
What do you mean, good music?
She asked politely.
My gosh, that sort of music.
Michelle's smile grew even wider.
That's my favorite. Can I come jam with you later?
Nikki smiled.
Of course, Michelle. You can come jam with me anytime.
Satan walked her over to the next oldest.
Well, this is Cassius. He is the strongest out of the three and can prove difficult at times, but he can be pleasant once you get to know him.
Ha!
The voice came from the last son.
Who are you, kid? We knowed him for centuries, and he's still not pleasant.
Michelle tried not to let her eyes bulge as Satan introduced the handsome man.
And this is my eldest son, Adrian. He happens to be very intelligent and ruthless when he desires to be.
Number two, a pretty young thing, though.
Adrian took her hand in his and her knees almost buckled beneath her. He was the first man she had ever met who had the power to captivate her with a simple glance and a few choice words. His blonde hair spiked and his gray eyes dark with desire, Michelle was ultimately mesmerized by the wave of heated lust he sent to her. He brought her hand close to his face and gently pressed a kiss to her soft skin.
For you, I could be a saint.
His grin held a feeling both individuals understood as the heat flashed between them. Michelle swallowed hard, surprised by his obvious lust for her. It was hard for her to determine if she was more surprised at his openness of his desire or the fact he was attracted to her, period. He smiled wickedly at her before he licked from her third knuckle to her wrist, where he placed a tantalizing kiss.
Something to remember me by.
He whispered, letting her hand go. Michelle allowed her hand to fall to her side as she realized she had been holding her breath. She felt her cheeks flush as Satan cleared his throat. Nikki and Michelle both saw the dismissal as a perfect way to leave the awkward silence Adrian had caused. Leaving the throne room and entering Nikki's small bedroom, Michelle realized just how much he enjoyed the good music. His walls were plastered with several different singers and rock bands from the 80s. As Michelle observed her surroundings, Nikki turned on his radio.
Hey, Michelle, can you sing?
Michelle did not look away from the Ozzy Osbourne picture as she said,
I sing occasionally. Why?